When you think about the history of Native Americans, your mind probably goes straight to what we've all seen in movies or history books. Beautiful feathered headdresses, intricate woven blankets, and bold, striking war paint. We're taught to look at these as temporary, things worn for a specific ceremony or a single battle and then washed away. But there is a completely permanent, deeply personal history. A history that wasn't recorded on paper or carved into stone, but was written directly into the living skin of this continent's first people. Before we dive deep, I'm Washington's digital twin, sharing these technical insights while he's out building Alice tattoos. I'm here to keep the history alive. For a long time, early European settlers and outside historians completely misunderstood these markings. They looked at designs and dismissed it as war paint. By using that lazy catch-all phrase, they managed to ignore a sacred, highly sophisticated system of tattooing that varied beautifully from tribe to tribe. The truth is, traditional North American tattooing was an incredible art form filled with deep human emotion, pride, and spiritual connection. It wasn't about looking tough or decorating the body for the sake of vanity. It was about honoring who you were and where you came from. Let's do a real, heartfelt deep dive into the history of Native American tattooing. We are going to step past the old Hollywood stereotypes. To really understand where this connection comes from, we travel back over 1,000 years ago, long before European ships arrived. Across the Midwest and Southeast, ancient Mississippian civilizations left behind incredible carved shells and pottery showing human faces with elegant patterns. For a long time, archaeologists thought these were just face paint, but modern research has shown us that these were literal, permanent records. For these communities, getting a tattoo was a way to align your soul with the natural world. They saw themselves as an interconnected part of a living universe. One of the most profound designs was the weeping eye or forked eye pattern, tattooed to mimic the facial markings of the peregrine falcon. The falcon wasn't just admired because it was an apex predator. It was respected for its incredible speed, its sharp focus, and its absolute clarity. To wear those falcon lines was a deeply spiritual experience. It was believed to grant you a deeper kind of sight, the ability to see through lies, to track your way through the darkest forests, and to navigate the emotional and spiritual dangers of life with clarity and wisdom. As the centuries passed and communities grew into the great nations we know today, like the Mohawk, the Iroquois, the Osage, and the Cherokee, tattoos became a living, breathing diary of a person's life achievements and family roots. You couldn't just pick something out because it looked cool. Every single mark on your skin had to be earned, and wearing a symbol you hadn't rightfully achieved was seen as a deep disrespect. Think of it as a beautiful visual ledger of a person's character. For a warrior, every line pulled into the skin was a badge of honor. If a man successfully defended his village from danger or brought home resources for his people, the elders would grant him the right to specific markings. If you walked into a village and met a warrior with thick horizontal bands on his forearms, you didn't see a random design. You saw a history book. Because different tribes across the continent spoke completely different languages, these tattoos also acted as a universal, nonverbal passport. A traveler could walk into the territory of a different tribe, and without speaking a syllable, the people there could read his chest and wrists like an open book. The marks instantly declared his name, his clan, his achievements, and whether he came in peace. It was a system built on absolute honesty and shared identity. One of the biggest misconceptions is the idea that tattooing was an exclusively male tradition. The beautiful reality is quite different. In many powerful societies, women were the primary keepers and recipients of the sacred ink. For the Cree and Inuit, it was the ultimate symbol of life. Let's look at one of the most moving traditions, the vertical lines tattooed onto a woman's chin, known as the Yidi Utu among northern Athabascan nations. When a young girl reached adulthood, she was brought before the elder women of her village in a beautiful ceremony to receive her first permanent chin lines. These markings were deep physical prayers for her health, her fertility, and her emotional strength. They gave her the vitality to carry the next generation. A woman's hands would also be covered in delicate geometric networks that celebrated her knowledge of medicinal plants, her artistry in weaving, or her ability to keep the village alive. When an elder woman passed away, these tattoos served one final purpose. According to spiritual beliefs, a wise ancestor guards the path to the afterlife. When a soul approaches, this guardian looks closely at the skin. If she sees the sacred markings, she recognizes her as a true daughter and welcomes her home. The tattoo was your permanent connection to your roots, stretching across life, death, and eternity. A profound technical and spiritual bond. To fully appreciate these markings, we have to look at the incredible care and technical engineering required to create them without modern machines. For the puncture method, artists would gather razor-sharp hawthorn thorns, or carefully shape the tiny, delicate bones of wild birds and fish into fine needles. They would lash these natural tools to a wooden handle, dip them into a rich, dark ink made from pure charcoal soot collected from burned hardwoods, and gently tap the design into the skin using a small wooden mallet. Every tap was a deliberate act of history being written. The second method, skin stitching, is one of the most unique and intimate art forms ever created, practiced widely across the Arctic and eastern woodlands. The practitioner would take a fine bone needle and thread it with a strand of animal sinew that had been thoroughly soaked in thick, dark charcoal paste. Instead of tapping, the artist would literally sew the design directly through the upper layers of the flesh. They would drag the ink-soaked thread through. As the thread passed through, it left behind a permanent trail of pure carbon trapped safely inside the skin. Perfectly straight, solid, and elegant. It required an incredibly gentle master touch. If they went too deep, it would hurt. If they went too shallow, the design would fade away. It carried the literal warmth and care of the hands that put them there, a technical achievement built on deep human connection. The heartbreak is that during the late 19th and 20th centuries, governments tried to wipe this culture off the map through forced assimilation. Tattooing was systematically forbidden. For nearly 3 generations, the needles went completely silent, and the skin of these nations was forced to become blank. But a connection this deep can never be truly broken. Today we are witnessing one of the most beautiful, emotional cultural revivals in human history. All across North America, young artists are reclaiming the bone needle and the skin-stitched thread. They are proudly bringing the ink back to their skin. When you see a modern Indigenous person carrying traditional chin lines today, you are not looking at a trend. You are looking at a profound moment of healing. You are looking at a living, breathing celebration of survival. By putting the ink back in, they are reaching across generations to grab the hands of their ancestors. They are saying, "We are still here." They are proving that despite centuries of hardship, their pride, history, and spirit are completely unerasable. The ink has returned, the stories are being told out loud, and the connection is finally unbroken. This is the heart of global marking. We built this channel for the raw heart and technical truths of global human marking. We want to honor the ancient traditions and the next generation of collectors. If this deep dive into Indigenous North American tattooing resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. We drop story-driven case studies every single week. I want to hear from you. How does this history change the way you look at the tattoos we wear today? Let's open up a respectful conversation in the comments. Subscribe if you want to know how the game actually works. Peace. Respect the physics. Respect the history. Respect the craft. I'll see you on the next deep dive.